Fans of Emmerdale were left extremely angry after last night's episode, which showed Joe Tate strengthening his control over Butler's farm. Many viewers are now calling for justice for Cain Dingle. In the latest storyline, Joe took pleasure in delivering shocking news. Moira Dingle has sold her share of Butler's farm to the Tate family. For Cain, hearing this felt like a heavy blow. Already dealing with the burden of a secret cancer diagnosis, Cain went to visit Moira in prison. He wanted answers about why she had given up the farm that holds such deep meaning for their family. Earlier in the week, Cain had finally told Moira about his illness. Despite this, he remained determined not to surrender to the Tates. In his mind, the battle for the farm was far from finished. With the farm bringing constant stress and the pressure of her time in prison, Moira admitted that letting go of the property had actually made her feel somewhat relieved. However, Cain could hardly listen. All he could think about was that Joe and Kim Tate had essentially come out on top. Later on, Cain angrily confronted Kim at home farm, struggling to accept that she could understand Moira's decision. He made it clear that, as far as he was concerned, the conflict was not over. Cain promised that once he gets through his cancer treatment, he will return ready to fight and destroy everything the Tates have built. At the moment, Cain is facing immense pressure. Moira remains in prison, the farm is slipping from his control, and he is secretly battling cancer while trying to keep everything running. Instead of sharing how overwhelmed he feels, Cain has started taking dangerous risks, including stealing cars to help pay the bills. On a previous occasion, he managed to steal Joe's DeLorean without facing punishment after Graham Foster discovered his illness and secretly protected him. This time, though, Joe had already anticipated his move. Aware that Cain might be tempted to steal again, Joe purposely bought an expensive, eye-catching car and left it parked where Cain would easily notice it before going to the pub. Working together with Cammy, Cain took Joe's keys and drove off in the vehicle, believing he had managed another simple theft. However, Joe had carefully arranged the entire situation in advance. Secret tracking cameras recorded the whole incident, leaving Cain completely trapped. Once Cain realized he had been tricked, he lost his temper and knocked Joe to the ground with a punch. As he prepared to strike again, Dawn Taylor quickly stepped in and separated them. She warned that she would contact the police, but Joe had a different plan. Rather than filing a report, he made a disturbing offer to Cain. The police would not be involved if Cain agreed to give up the farm. And the plan succeeded. Joe's plot worked perfectly, as Moira eventually sold her share to Kim, allowing Butler's farm to slip out of the Dingle family's control. As expected, viewers were furious about Joe's arrogant win, and many believe his downfall is inevitable. Commenting on Metro's Facebook page, fans openly expressed their anger. One viewer wrote that someone needed to step in and deal with him. Another suggested that Joe's own family might eventually expose what he has done. Some fans believe Kim could be the one to take action against him. Others are convinced that justice will soon catch up with Joe. In a recent episode, Joe Tate took clear satisfaction in informing Cain Dingle that Moira Dingle had officially sold her share of Butler's farm to the Tate family. The revelation devastated Cain, who quickly arranged another prison visit with Moira in an attempt to understand why she made such a decision. Cain began to question whether Moira had given the Tates exactly what they wanted, because she now saw him as weak after learning about his cancer diagnosis. Earlier in the week, Cain finally confessed the truth about his illness to Moira, yet insisted that he would still stand his ground and refused to hand the farm over to the Tates. However, Moira explained that this wasn't the real reason behind her choice. She told Cain that protecting his health mattered far more than holding on to the land. Although Butler's farm meant a lot to her, the situation surrounding it had created huge stress, and letting it go felt like the only sensible option. While she spoke, there was a noticeable sense of relief in her voice, but Cain could only focus on one thing. Joe and Kim Tate had ultimately won. Emmerdale spoilers: 6 major moments tonight as Robert faces the Dingle's anger. The ongoing battle over Butler's farm continues in tonight's Emmerdale, threatening to create a serious rift within the Dingle family. As everyone tries to process Moira's decision to sell her share of the farm, attention shifts to the person who will replace her at Butler's. At the same time, Laurel finally speaks out after Arthur's violent behaviour at home. The big question is whether Nicola will support her. Here are 6 key moments to watch in Wednesday's episode. 1. Joe shocks Robert with big news. After learning that Moira has sold her share of Butler's farm to Kim, the ruthless Joe quickly starts planning his next move. He tells Robert that now the deal is complete, they can move forward with their secret arrangement. The plan would place Robert at Butler's farm as the new tenant farmer once Cain and his family leave. Robert is stunned that the plan is suddenly becoming real, as he never truly believed it would happen during earlier conversations with Joe. Now he must decide whether taking the offer is worth the inevitable backlash from the Dingle family. 2. Aaron finds himself stuck in the middle. When it's revealed that Robert has been secretly working with Joe, the Dingles react with fury. Although Robert tries to explain the situation, Cain feels deeply betrayed by Aaron's partner. Staying true to his long-standing belief in family loyalty, Cain demands that Aaron make a choice between him and Robert. Aaron now faces an impossible decision. 3. Matty, Mac and Ross receive crushing news. At the beginning of the day, Matty, Mac and Ross have no idea about the secret plans involving the farm. When Vanessa reveals that the herd's TB test results look positive, they celebrate and look forward to getting back to normal work. However, their excitement quickly fades once news spreads about Moira's decision to sell. Matty is left especially devastated as he reflects on everything he has lost over the past year. 4. Graham and Rona raise eyebrows. Rona expresses gratitude to Graham when she realizes he has quietly been supporting Cain during this difficult time. She even points out that no one else in the family seems to acknowledge his help. Later, Lydia notices a warm and friendly moment between the former couple, leaving her curious about what might be going on between them. 5. Laurel finally opens up. Laurel turns to Nicola for support and reveals that Arthur was responsible for the recent fall she suffered at home. Nicola is shocked to hear that Arthur behaved so aggressively. The situation raises serious concerns about how the troubled teenager can move forward. 6. Kerry and Jai's secret raises suspicions. Kerry and Jai continue their secret relationship, sneaking around to keep it hidden. However, they may soon face trouble as Nicola has begun watching Kerry closely while at the cafe. Emmerdale airs on weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.